1 year after ChatGPT, there's over half of the companies that are saying, at least publicly, that they're using AI. So AI will redefine the work of leaders as much as employees. Most businesses are in business to create transformation, and generative AI will transform how that transformation is done. Claude 3 has 200,000 tokens, which allows it to remember a lot of data of context before it executes something. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is cool to do another one. I did this yesterday, and it was quite cool to have, I think, about like 47 to 49 people at one point live on this interesting experiment that I have going. So if this is the first time you're joining, this is an experiment that I decided to do and play with AI live. Today, I've got a really cool show coming up, and I'm going to show you what we have today in store. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to use Claude 3 and why Claude is so important and so powerful. All right. The main tactic today that we're going to do is to come up with our business goals, and which is something that takes a lot of time, a lot of brain effort, and a lot of, brain space. So what's the point in having those goals and what to do regularly? So today we're going to talk about how your goals plus your vital signs, what are the vital metrics that you got to measure regularly to make sure that you have a healthy business. And we're going to do all this using AI. And I'm also going to show you normally how long something like this would take and how it is so much easier to do it with artificial intelligence. We're going to pick our vital signs for our business, and hopefully you can model what I'm doing and do it for yourself. We're going to take our objectives and key results and then sort of translate them to the goals of what our vital signs should be. So what are the goals that we're trying to hit regularly? And then how do we interact with these goals? How do we make sure that we can achieve them? Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to Amplify AI. Consider this podcast your digital compass for you, the business leader wanting to use artificial intelligence ethically and in alignment with your brand's identity to achieve your business goals. Leading and running a business in the world of AI is like solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But this podcast and I are here to make that easy. Every episode is a masterclass in unlocking techniques for using AI as a business leader, founder, owner. Thanks for being here. Let's learn. Today, we're going to learn this really cool technique. It's called the chain of thought prompting. And it's a very simple technique, but a very powerful technique to use in prompting. So let's get into the news. This is a really interesting study done by PwC. It's the 2024 AI business predictions. Now, for every business out here, it's really interesting to watch how this is put into play, because a lot of us that are in business forget these simple things. Now, this is PwC. It's kind of created this long article about the predictions of AI in business for 2024. It must get a lot of clicks. Don't worry about the highlighting. That's me. But if you go down the bottom, all the way down here, notice this. What can generative AI do for you? And this is a get in touch with PwC button. So this is literally their content marketing that's working for them. However, there's research that's gone into doing this article. So I think it's important to just go through and see why this is really important. So they have done research. Now, again, some of this research can be tainted in the way they've collected data. So keep all of that in mind. But nevertheless, just looking around, some of this stuff that I'm going to say is very true when you look around how much the adoption of artificial intelligence has become a thing. So 73% of US companies have already adopted AI in some way or the other, and generative AI is obviously leading the way, which is a huge thing. And 1 year after ChatGPT, there's over half of the companies that are saying, at least publicly, that they're using AI. So there's like 6 different business predictions, and let's go through them one at a time. The first one is the right AI choices will provide companies a significant edge. So key words here are right AI choices. It is really important that when you're using artificial intelligence, you're using the right AI for the right task. So now what's happening with ChatGPT, because it's so easily available, and that's what most people are using, everyone's thinking that AI is just ChatGPT. And I kind of break that idea that that's that it is. It's really important to have the right AI choices when it comes to what you're doing for your business specifically to actually use it to take advantage of its capacity. Because here's what's really important. The key is to avoid the use case trap. If you use Gen AI only in isolated instances, you'll get only limited value. Instead, prioritize patterns that can scale. What that means is use AI inside your workflows. So your existing workflows, whatever is working for you right now, use that and then use AI to bolster that. So Gen AI's capacity to draw insights from unstructured data can help nearly every knowledge worker grow capacity and make better decisions. And another thing here is really important to understand is when you think about IQ, right? When we judge IQ of humans and we do an IQ test and we say this person has a higher IQ, what we're saying is that this person has a higher working memory. So this person can remember a lot of more stuff when they can interact with the world. And that's no different to artificial intelligence. So not using AI to draw these insights because it definitely has a higher working capacity than we do. And using it to draw these instances and these ideas from unstructured data is really powerful, and we should all be using it. Second one, I want to go through this because I definitely want to get into the tactic quicker. So number two, Gen AI will redefine the work of leaders as much as employees. But AI will start to change how almost everyone, especially those at the highest levels, do their jobs. Today's tactic about doing business vital signs is also a very leader focused. That's why it's really important to understand that it is a very leader focused skill. Middle managers will need skills to oversee and assess teams in which AI agents do much of the work. It's very similar to how we went virtual overnight and we were forced to then start to manage local teams and virtual teams and hybrid teams altogether. Functional leads will have to understand how AI can not just augment processes, but replace them. The C-suite will have to take action on AI native operations and business models. I want to put this in context. This is PwC who is selling this kind of stuff. So it is in their interest to put this out there, but it is also done from research that they have gathered. So number three, the moment of truth for trust in AI is coming. So trust in AI will be critical. The more people that trust it, there's a lot of people saying that they don't trust artificial intelligence. What that means right now that more people are trusting it, but it means that it'll be more compliant, it'll be more secure, and more people will be worrying about what kind of output it really produces. So many Gen AI vendors now offer to indemnify customers for potential copyright infringements, including ChatGPT and OpenAI. If you use their enterprise and their pro versions, then if you have any issues, they will step in for you. So number four, Gen AI will be the missing link for data. What it can do right now is really valuable. It can scan, read, summarize, translate, analyze, troubleshoot, even highly structured data that's trapped in presentations, strategy papers, customer logs, and the countless other documents that define your organization. You got to understand where this can be used. If you're not using right now generative AI, I suggest you really look into it quicker. Five, obviously, Gen AI will transform, which is interesting, right? So most businesses are in business to create transformation, and generative AI will transform how that transformation is done. So look at how it is possible. And when you look at this article, it shows you different ways in finance, tax, legal, ways that generative AI can actually help within these different industries. And finally, I want to wrap this up. Gen AI will give rise to new classes of products and services, obviously, because it's already given rise to new types of teams where AI agents are part of the team that you have not only human teams, but you have AI teams. All this no-code stuff is becoming more and more common, and I definitely would suggest you go and check these predictions out. It's super valuable. All right, enough of the news. Let's get into the vital signs. Today's tactic is all about interpreting business vital signs using artificial intelligence. So yesterday, we did getting your business goals. What we got from your business goals were a set of objectives and key results. What was the objective and what are the key results? And the reason for having this particular tactic today is, okay, you might have a goal and you might know what you're going to do regularly, but what metrics do you measure in your business to know whether it's working well and what are the vital signs of that business, right? So this is what I mean by vital signs. What do you test and measure to know that your business is healthy? And the idea here is that we want you to have a good set of business goals, but also a project plan. And we don't want you to not know what to measure, what vital signs to create. So I had this really interesting chat that I created about vital signs so that it gives you an idea of how I would think of business vital signs. Now, this section here that's in these little quotes is from my book. And I've just pasted it here to kind of highlight that this is how I want you to think about interpreting business vital signs, in giving it context that I believe there are 8 important vital signs: is team, listeners, leads, appointments, engagement, sales, partnerships, and profit. Okay, I'm saying this is what I believe. What are the minimalist and simplest vital signs to measure based on a set of OKRs? Think this through step by step and give me your reasoning. Now, this last line is really important because this last line is prompting the artificial intelligence to not immediately do the task. It's prompting the artificial intelligence to first think of the task as a project first, and then think of it logically, break it down, and then perform the steps one at a time. And that is called chain of thought prompting. You mentioned this technique, chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought prompting is getting the AI to think of your job as a whole process or whole project first, and then ideate it as a project, and then break it down into tasks, and then execute each task one at a time. That is a really good prompting skill to learn. So it did that, and then it gave me a really cool breakdown. It said, okay, first align the vital stats with OKRs, which is what we're going to do. And then it simplified my 8 and said, just worry about these 4. Worry about engagement rate, like how many listeners, leads, and engagements you're getting regularly. Then worry about the conversion rate, how many appointments to sales. So who's coming into an appointment and how many people are converting to sales. In that way, I suppose you measure both appointments and sales. And what partnership effectiveness, like how many partnerships you're having and what's your profit margin. And then it says, okay, this is how you do it. This is the integration. This is the stuff. Then I'm saying, okay, how can we use AI to automate the collection and analysis of these simplified vital signs that you're suggesting? What specific tools that can we use? All right. So then it talks about natural language, predictive analysis, comes into a lot of theoretical stuff, which is not actually what I'm after. So I abandoned that and I went down a different path here. And I said, well, typically, how long does it take a small business to do an annual interpret vital signs project with regular measuring, documenting, and monitoring the project for the year? And then what I did was I actually put the steps. So this is again from my book. If you're going to interpret vital signs, these are the 3 steps you got to do. And within each of them, there are 3 sub-steps. Take the vital signs, take your OKRs and convert them into the goals that you have for each of the signs, and then how to converse with your thing. So I've cut in that, and I'm saying, how long would it take? And again, I'm asking it to think this through in a methodical manner. And what it's done is it's first said, okay, pick the signs. This is how long it would take. Then OKR to goals. This is how long it would take. This is in a typical world without necessarily having AI to benefit you. So it's saying initial planning, 8 to 12 weeks, 8 to 13 weeks. So it's a lot of time, right? And it's a lot of time to do this. And what if we could do this quicker? Let's play here. And what I want to use is Claude AI. If you don't know what this is, it's a really powerful artificial intelligence. This is Claude 3 that is being used. I have upgraded my account, so I'm subscribed to Pro. And let me tell you the advantage of Claude 3, because I think that's important. There are 2 main numbers when it comes to artificial intelligence that are really important. The first number is the size of the training data that our AI is trained on. So how much of data goes into training a particular model. Now, you'll hear this a lot. It's a 7 billion parameter model. It's a 3 billion parameter model. Some say ChatGPT is a 1 trillion parameter model. We don't have that confirmed or any way to confirm that yet. Look out for my live that I'm going to do about how open is OpenAI, because again, there's a lot of things about OpenAI that are quite shut. And Claude, the 2 main numbers is the size, the parameter size of the training data that it's trained on. And the second is the token size for each interaction, or actually with the interaction, the token size of what each model remembers. Okay. So for example, GPT-4 on your chat GPT remembers about 8,000 tokens, which is roughly about 6,000 characters. Now, however, Claude 3 has 200,000 tokens, which allows it to remember a lot of data of context before it executes something. So it remembers a lot of stuff. Now, sometimes when you're using ChatGPT, you're talking to it, and after a while, some of the responses get generic. And the reason for that is it's gone past its token limit and it starts forgetting things that are past its token limit. So if it only remembers 6,000 characters, for example, and you're starting to ask it questions about information you've given it 7,000 characters ago, it has forgotten that. And that's why it starts to return generic. So Claude 3 is very powerful in the sense that it allows you to interact with a lot more data. I'm going to show you what the prompt would look like. And I pre-prepared this prompt because yesterday I did a lot of the prompts on the fly, and I think I could have done a better job with the prompts. And I'll show you what this means here in a second. What I'm saying is I will give you a set of OKRs. I would like you to help me with vital signs, metrics we need to measure weekly to keep in alignment with our OKRs. I want you to read through the OKRs, then consider the objective and determine what vital signs are best to measure regularly. Make a list of 10 and then pick the best 4 or 5. Think this through step by step and give me a reasoning, please. Here are the OKRs. So I'm just going to put the OKRs from yesterday, which is here. I just want to remind you, because in the start of this live, I said that I would teach you this chain of thought prompting. And this technique is very prevalent in this prompt that I've used over here, which is breaking down the project into steps. And then I'm saying, think this through step by step and give me a reasoning. So I've taken this whole big project and I've broken it down and I've given it instructions on how I want it to perform this task that I'm asking of it. So if you look at the prompt, it's quite elaborate and it's got a lot of context. And again, the good thing about Claude is it remembers a lot of stuff. It will come in handy. So what it's saying here right now is, okay, it's executing this. It's like, okay, the main objective is to get 100 business owners and leaders in the next year, especially if they have an online presence. It's going, okay, well, a whole bunch of different ones that it suggested: new participants, number of leads, new partnerships, new participants, website traffic. And then it's gone, okay, well, I'm picking the best 4 or 5, which is here, a number of participants joining each week, which is a very important one, obviously. Number of leads generated from the podcast per week, because I did tell it in my OKRs, it knows that I have a podcast for this. The conversion rate, so assuming I convert at 2% of my email list. Number of participants generated from partnerships each week. And see how quickly that happened, right? So if we had these objectives and key results, what were the tasks we had to do regularly, weekly, monthly, daily? And so you now know what you're going to do on a regular basis to achieve your goals. And now today, based on this, you also know what you have to do to measure, like what kind of measurements do you have to go through regularly to make sure that you're keeping in alignment with your goals. Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to aigeeks.co. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.